Hi, my name's Kyle Stedman. That's me. And I just finished, I almost said reading, but experiencing Nikki Gordon's Open the Box. And I have a lot of things it's made me think about and a lot of things it's made me feel. Some of the things that made me think about are it reminded me of Choose Your Own Adventure books. You know how they're always written in the second person with that you. This is an example of one that I tried to write with some friends on a Google site years ago. And it always starts the same way, right? You're sitting in the front seat. So the person experiencing the text is really the person who's part of the story. That's of course something that Gordon does really well. It reminds me of how a lot of creative nonfiction authors do that too. This is one of my favorites by Brenda Miller, and she starts kind of in the same way. You're in the bed of a stranger. Now we know that the story is actually about her, right? We know that really this is a part of Miller's life when she was in the bed of a stranger. But instead, for complicated reasons that we can kind of tease out or just kind of let be mysterious, she writes the whole thing to you instead. Another thing it made me think about is how, in some ways, clicking through the tap essay of a PowerPoint is a little bit like a game. And sorry to keep making this about me. It reminded me of this piece that I co-wrote with Wendy. Hey, Wendy, a few years ago about gamification. This idea of taking something that doesn't necessarily have to be game-like and changing the experience and the immersiveness of it by making it a game. And I know Open the Box isn't necessarily a game, but in some ways it felt game-like. A third thing, besides Choose Your Own Adventure and gamification, that this made me think about was, again, more about me. I'm really sorry. It was about this collection called Obsessed. This isn't out yet, but I submitted this essay called Drenched in 1988 to that collection. And hey, they said they'd publish it. It's really cool. And I was thinking about my own experience of writing at first just about my silly experiment of digging deep into all things 1988. Long story. And it starts with John Cusack and Tim Robbins and silly things like that. But as I was writing this essay, how it became more serious for me. It became about me being a childless person, someone who doesn't have kids and will never have kids. It started becoming about how my younger brother died. Now this seems so silly, right? Like I thought this was about Tim Robbins and John Cusack and silly things like that. And it was making me think. Again, Gordon's Open the Box piece made me think about how sometimes the things that we think are less serious in our lives actually are tied to our emotions and our feelings in complex human ways that we don't even quite understand. So I loved that since this is something that I've been thinking about a lot lately, I felt like Gordon helped me think about that too. It's complicated, right? When we want to write about ourselves, what do we write about? How do we share how our lives have touched other people's? In Gordon's piece, she actually blurs out the faces of the person that she's talking about. It made me think about a book that I've read and taught from called Family Trouble, about the hazards and rewards of revealing family when we're writing uh, essays or creative nonfiction or experiences that really share who we are for others. Now, I know it seems like I'm kind of all over the place. I am. These are all the things that I thought about. And yet, when it comes to the experience of actually getting into Open the Box and actually opening the box, um, there's something more than just thinking. Because to get forward, I had to click or push forward or space on my keyboard. I could read a line that at first kind of seemed innocuous, yeah, and then I hit it and got to that black screen again. And then I got to the next lines that sometimes weren't quite as innocuous. Sometimes were a little, I think scary is the right word. And all of a sudden, even though Gordon is telling her story, suddenly it felt like I was in some way wrapped into the story. Um, as I would hit a line that I started realizing how dark this was starting to get, and I would click forward and have this black screen, and I would have to choose again to click forward to have even the next words come forward, even when they were hard. And then I'd click forward again, and there was another black screen, and I would have to choose again to go forward. Again, black screen, again, choose to go forward. So for me, that feeling of what am I in? What is going to happen here? What will happen as I continue to click forward and find out what is inside some of the boxes that show up, start to figure out where the you of this story actually is. And that experience didn't just make me think about all those things I told you about, it actually made me feel the way I remember feeling when I used to play the Myst version, the Myst series of video games. Now you might be like, Myst, what's going on here? Myst were games that started in 1993. There were a whole bunch of sequels. I've played all of them. I get kind of obsessed with these. Let me just show you for a second what the Myst games could look like. If I load a game here, I start by entering the book. This is a little bit open the boxy, right? Like I have to choose: am I going to go inside this book or not? Yeah, I will. Sorry for the 1993 graphics and sound. And the way that Myst works is you click where you want to click. You know, sometimes you back up, sometimes you move around. You can walk out onto the island. You decide, do I want to go this way or do I want to look a little closer at that? And of course, uh, as you walk, even though this isn't a game where things are going to attack you, even though this isn't a game where anything's going to jump out, you can see it's very 1993. It doesn't look scary. And yet, what I remember playing this in early high school, and I remember moments like this where I would click something and I have to decide, am I going in there or not? Now, I know eventually I'm going to, but I also have to decide, am I going in there now? If I click in and I see unknown scary things in front of me, and maybe even the music gets a little dramatic. I remember these feelings of not knowing what I was getting myself into. And this feeling of, okay, I should probably push this button, but the game gives me no certainties about it. The game gives me no feeling of, yes, everything's going to be okay when if I click that button. This button could ruin everything around me. This button could make the entire room I'm in fall down. And that emotion was brought to the fore as I experienced Open the Box. Now, who knows what that means? Who knows what I'm supposed to do with that? Who knows what I can do with that? Um, I don't even have any conclusions to draw. All I know is that my thoughts and my feelings were brought to the fore as I experienced this, and there's something powerful there about if I just go back here, something about how choose your own adventure, second person, how gamification, and how really sharing the personal things in our life can join together for an experience that is unlike any other. So thanks, Nikki Gordon. I appreciate it. Open the box. I feel really honored to have shared what you shared.